So Eileen, who can participate in a clinical trial? What criteria do you use to decide whether he or she may be an appropriate candidate for any given clinical trial?
So we try to keep this as broad as possible and as embracing as possible to encourage as many people as we can to participate, and always want to make the point that it's sometimes not just the patient. So sometimes we're interested in learning about maybe the genetics of a disease, why they got a certain cancer. So we're interested to learn what perhaps certain lifestyle factors that family members have. So sometimes there's an opportunity for family members to participate in clinical trials. But if we focus on the patient themselves, considerations might include treatment-based studies, we call those therapeutic trials, or non-therapeutic trials, which are more the biospecimen or collecting samples. It's a lot of work to have a person enroll in a clinical trial. It does require, I think, careful explanation and discussion of the pros and cons to make sure it is the right fit for that person and they are truly comfortable with that decision. The consent process takes some time, and oftentimes patients will need to take the information home, digest it, discuss it with their family, maybe even seek an additional opinion to confirm that that's the right choice for them. But as I say, I think as academicians in the field, we love to see people participate in studies. And it's not for everybody, and we certainly acknowledge that sometimes there are factors outside an individual's control that a certain trial isn't a good fit for them. And that can happen because their level of well-being is not so good. What we call their performance status, their daily functioning, could be impaired either because of their cancer or because of other medical issues. Or sometimes a common issue in pancreas cancer is the development of jaundice, and where the eyes become yellow and needing to put a little tube or a stent in the bile duct to relieve that jaundice, but their liver function is out of order, and that can sometimes preclude participation, or the white blood cell count is low, etc. There can be a lot of reasons why we would like to do it, but at the end of the day, it's not the right match for a given person.
Right. So as both you and I well know, having developed and led a number of clinical trials, anytime we develop a protocol for testing a novel treatment, we have to develop a whole set of very specific eligibility criteria. Mm-hmm. A patient to be eligible for this study must meet these particular factors. In the case of pancreatic cancer, have, say, metastatic disease, have received no prior treatments or exactly one prior treatment or something along those lines. And then very specific aspects in terms of their blood counts, as you mentioned, having adequate liver function, kidney function, not having other medical conditions that we think may compromise the safety, because a lot of what we're testing in trials is not just the effectiveness, but certainly how safe they are. Probably the highest priority is to minimize the potential for serious risk and harm. So I always feel a little bit like a bad guy when I sometimes will have to tell a patient who's very eager to participate in a trial, and we screen them for a study, but they don't end up qualifying because of very specific aspects of their blood work or something in their medical history that doesn't allow them to participate. And I try to explain or emphasize that while I'm disappointed as well, we're really doing it because we need to make sure that we're doing this in a safe way that in no way will compromise their well-being. And I know a lot of patients who are in a sort of desperate situation will be like, no, I'm okay, it's all right, I'm willing to take that risk. But still, I think for us to do things rigorously and ethically, we need to have these very specific and strict rules in place anytime we're doing anything in the experimental realm.
No, absolutely, and I think I just want to emphasize that latter point, that the patient's well-being and their safety are, principal concerns when a person is participating in a trial, and that trumps almost everything else.
And then there are just some practical and logistic considerations. I'm sure folks are coming from very far distances to see you in New York City, and same in San Francisco, where folks are traveling from 3-4 more hours away. And clinical trials are time intensive. Sometimes they require very frequent visits, and sometimes just the practical issues of traveling back and forth long distances, once, sometimes twice a week, can just be prohibitively difficult for some patients. And so I want to be considerate of those aspects as well. And sometimes I'll tell a patient that, listen, I know you're very eager and willing, but this just may not be the right thing for you for these very practical reasons.